Hey, everybody. Thank you for being here for another week of the Truths We Hide podcast. Today's guest is Russell Hauser. I apologize. He is a chief warrant officer. And really quick, Russell and I served together back in 2012,
Yep.
I believe, where we were under the same leadership, and he was actually with the First Armored Division Band, which, if you guys haven't listened to any of the music that is produced from an Army band, you have to go listen to it because I always found it so fascinating to watch them perform. And I don't know, it always sent chills down my spine because you really were amazing, Russell. Your whole team was fabulous. So I'm really honored to have him on here today. It's been way too long since we last spoke, but he has a powerful story to tell, and I'm so honored that he has chosen this platform to share it. And I think y'all need to put your hearing caps on because it's not talked about in. I think that the message needs to be out there. So thanks, Russell. Thank you so much for being on here. I'm so proud of you and everything that you've accomplished thus
Well,
far.
thank you very much, Annette. And in reciprocal fashion, truly the work that you've done since the time we served together is really amazing. And I appreciate the platform that you have created for many individuals. And unfortunately, I'm glad to be part of this now to get out there and at least begin sharing stories of challenges regarding mental health that seem to be, cropping up everywhere, especially right now with the coronavirus epidemic going on. It's more important than ever that we talk about this, not just in the veteran community, but in the population at large. And I think by sharing stories, we get at uh, ways of understanding that maybe we wouldn't have thought of ourselves. We also, build bonds with other people uh, who have gone through similar situations or who have, overcome them. So I'm really just truly amazed at where you have gone and the groundbreaking work you're doing since we've served together, which was a total hoot at the time, too, by the way.
Thank you for your words. I really do appreciate it. You know that it's so hard being in the military and then getting out. Yeah, but oh my gosh. Okay. Yeah, please tell the listeners, share your story with the listeners. It's something that needs to be. Yes,
Okay.
I'm just so glad that you're going to
Okay, all
share
right.
this.
So first of all, I'm just kind of a crazy little kid from a small farming-ish town in central Pennsylvania, and I always joke that there's more cows than there's people, and that may or may not be true, but it kind of gives the feeling of setting the stage of um, no you know, nothing special or extraordinary about the circumstance. It was, just kind of a hardworking blue collar-ish town, and so from that, the setting the whole stage for how I got to a point where I need to talk about mental health is I love both my parents, and we have a great relationship now. But at the time, when I was born, I had one parent who was fairly strict in religious orientation, and another parent who was fairly heathenish, and so was brought up in this system of sort of mixed goals, and I'm not sure they were working together for anything, and that creates a lot of tension for a kid, and that's okay. I'm glad I can talk about this now. But along the way, the things that they weren't prepared for that I brought to the table was pretty much from the time I knew myself as a conscious being around age 3 or 4, I knew I was different, and I was very emotional. I couldn't figure it out why. And just cutting to the chase, later it was because I figured out that I was gay, and that was an important thing to figure out along the way. It took a long time, but also along the way, there was a lot of just self-esteem issues that were just never ironed out. Like, you know, Erickson and other developmental theorists tell us that we should figure out along the way. So,
Mhm.
when I was 10, uh, I figured out, I went to a class put on by my school band, and I figured out, oh, I like music. So from about age 10, when I started learning music and performing music, that was my escape from life, from the insanity of home, uh, through the next 8 years. And, school academics and music, most importantly, music, were the only things that got me out. So when an army band came through when I was 18, that's exactly what I said I'm going to do to get out. And I did. Now, at that time in 1987, the policy was it was before Don't Ask, Don't Tell. It was just, homosexuality is incompatible with military service. So, I didn't really
Mhm.
move into a better situation in some ways. I had a job, I was doing what I liked, but, it's still like I couldn't be myself. So,
Yeah.
fast forward, got out, went to an uber liberal school, figured out who I was, came out, was disowned by my parents, graduated. This is something else we share in at least I'll remind you of, Annette. Your branch was chemical. My undergrad was chemistry. So
Yes.
we at least have
Oh
we
wow.
have that together. But 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 along the way, then I figured out, staying in shape and playing my horn, making music are the things that I want to do. And the army was a good vehicle to get back into it. And by that time, that was 96. The policy was don't ask, don't tell. So I mean, I was still, I'd come out, had a taste of
Mhm.
it, that I'm like, I need to survive. So I went back in. Well, that led to a whole bunch of, professional absurdities, covering up my true identity, just really not um, being able to be honest about some things with anyone, you know.
Mhm.
And so it was bizarre. And along the way, these other unresolved issues from childhood, uh, at the point that you and I were working together, I was probably taking 6 to 9 laxatives a day to stay in shape, to stay thin, to try to, look like I was healthy, even though I wasn't. So, bulimia
Mhm.
uh, was was there my entire time, and I mean, that's a really insidious way of self-destruction. Uh, you know, at this point, I've beaten that to a degree, but there's still a bit of flakiness and issue with weight and body image where all of this stuff comes from. The other thing
Mhm.
along the way that was an issue was to make myself invaluable. So, if anyone accused me of, being gay, I was a workaholic, so I had a great relationship and I still do, but I mean, my goal was to work anyone under the table. So no one could say, "Oh, you're this way. We don't need you." So that's a lot of self-imposed pressure on myself. And what all this came to it in a head right before I left when we were working together in 2013 was I just had come down with super bad migraines. I mean, it was like a continuous migraine for like a month and a half before it was finally really treated, aggressively treated. And as a musician, my job is to stand out in the sun, an army musician, stand out in the sun, have a lot of movement, and have a lot of noise coming at me. So I was doping up so heavily just on, regular drugs to just do my job at that time.
Oh my
Yeah, and so
gosh.
this all came to a head. Uh, and Fortunately, when Don't Ask, Don't Tell was stricken down, I was able to begin seeing Army therapist to, kind of get out of my own head some. So
Mhm.
those are that's my background, and those are some of the obstacles that I'm glad to share here with you. That I'm not necessarily afraid of judgment about anymore. I found communities of support for almost all of those things. Were direct
Wow.
support, but it certainly was a culture of a self-imposed personal culture of shame and like just downward spiral of bad health and bad mental health especially. So
Yeah.
when I saw the work that you were doing and said, this is something that I think uh, might be of value to somebody else that I could share with, uh, I wanted to do that just because um, the the destructive years I spent with bulimia and just ingesting, I don't know how many thousands of dollars or how many thousands of pills I took over the course of 5, 6 years. It's not worth it, you know. Not being yourself is not worth it. Bending yourself to work over relationships is not worth it. And so I feel just really emotional just saying those things right now.
Yeah.
It's a moment of truth and clarity that I haven't shared with really much of anyone in a big fashion like this before. So thank you for the opportunity for me to get up and say I've done these stupid things. It may or may not be my fault. That's not the issue. My goal is that they're in my life, and I'm trying to make them make my life better.
I'm gosh. I had well, I had no idea. I am so sorry that you've had to go through this and not be able to talk about it before, because that was the culture. We didn't talk about those things at all. And we were afraid of being judged. We were afraid of losing our clearance. We were afraid of losing our job. It was just so many stressors over things that, we could have, people lose their lives over because they feel so isolated. And I think that's just one of the reasons why I'm just so grateful that you and I are both here today to talk about these things, because I didn't feel like life was worth living years ago, because it was a stigma of just going through anything, that people would look at you differently. And I think and there's nothing. I want to say I enjoyed my time in the military, yes, but it was difficult. And I just I am I'm just so glad that you're still here. Like I can't imagine. And what helped you find the strength to keep going? For people out there, they just don't find it sometimes, and they're just done. Hey, but we're here to tell them that you can make it through. And so what would you tell someone? What was your strength each day?
Well, a couple of things on that, and yeah, I mean, the military or any um, context, always has stressors which are going to go away, and why I did not have that strength to begin with, I don't know, but what I found that sort of began the turning point were a couple moments of hope, and I'd like to share some of these. The first thing is, and I remember this a long time ago. I was at school in Massachusetts, and I'd gone to a Pride Day parade, and there was a female reverend uh, bodybuilder. I think, and her name was Sunny, and I don't remember her last name, but she preached in Northampton, and one of the things that she said that stuck with me was, if something doesn't work, uh, try something else. Now, there's dumb, and then there's army dumb, and I'm kind of army dumb, you know. I mean, like I will hit my head against a wall until until I realize this is not the right way. I mean, for me as an educator, this is like, I'm probably the worst student, but I mean, hard learning. So but that was a simple message that stuck with me. If something is not working, try something else. Uh, so I think that was always one of the moments of hope in my mind that I always had. It's like, if there's something wrong, I can look for something else. So one of the ways I began tackling one of the most superficial, or one of the more superficial issues with the weight and the eating issues was I joined Weight Watchers. I'm not endorsing them. I'm not a spokesperson for them, but it sure as heck helped me.
Yeah.
It gave me at least an inroad to begin addressing one problem. I mean, I had this thing figured out financially. If I had a lot of bills, I just paid off the smallest bill and then put that money toward the bigger bills, and I lived debt free. I mean, I got that, but so maybe I started applying this to emotional and mental health, and just started dealing with like the smallest problems, and that relationship with that program has been a 5-year relationship. And what I've found is that, and this is typical of me, I cycle. Began watching my patterns and recording my patterns and drawing data and drawing analysis from sort of like my patterns. Um, and what I found is that over the course of this time, it's just given me the capability to peel back that onion that's my personality, one thing at a time. So, it was eating, and I figured out how to deal with that better. And then it was weight, and that got better. And then I started getting healthier and say, okay, now, I'm an older guy. I got to start doing some, maybe some weight training to, kind of keep that up. And so that's gotten better. But then about all of a sudden, in the past couple months, the whole issue of, what are the underlying causes of, all of this, those things came to the surface. So I've been aggressively, now seeking therapy, and finding other social means of figuring out mental health, and also my own dissertation work for grad school, which I hopefully will finish my doctorate this this I'll turn in dissertation at the end of the semester.
Oh
Is
my
in
gosh.
yeah, is in an identity construction. So I read all of this social psychology ways to understand myself better, and and when I read about other people's experiences, that's my own sort of quiet meditative way of finding out what other people do to be healthy. So it's kind of a two-pronged approach. Meet, talk with other people, help me sort things out, and then also do my own study to kind of understand how we think we work as people. So that's how I'm overcoming it. Whether I ever overcome everything fully, I don't know. But again, it's nugging it out day by day to try to make it a better life that day.
Mm-hmm. Um, I'm amazed at your strength in just trying. You keep showing up and you keep going and you just keep trying. For people to hear, I think, because it is I know for me each day is different. Each day is I have to I have to change my mindset because there's days where I'm like, I don't want to do shit today. Nope, not gonna happen. And then the next day I get motivated and I say, okay, I'm gonna work on this, but I have to pick something. And for me,
Right.
I have to learn to not be so hard on myself because it's so easy for us to do that, to tear ourselves down. And and I think finding little things is so important to help us get through each day. So I'm just
Right.
it's amazing, and congratulations on getting your doctorates. That's so exciting. It's just it's I know that's hard work, but I think
But
it's just so amazing. Um,
uh,
you
let
mentioned
me.
before. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say, let me touch on two things right there, just to respond to what you said.
Yes.
Number one, it is so easy, and I don't even realize I do it, to just degrade myself totally.
Mm-hmm.
So that's one of the things to learn. How do I talk to myself better?
Hmm.
But I think one of the neat lessons from the Army, uh, that might be of relevance here to what you had said about just day by day, is I found that my commanding officers, I mean, they wanted product. They did, but they never cared about you know the well, they did care, but what they wanted was every day just check in to let me know how you're doing on advancing forward. So I mean, yeah, there are some days that suck and I don't want to do anything, but that little bit of wisdom from the Army is just like every day, just keep moving forward. Uh, that's a really nice lesson that translates from the military to how we maybe get healthier. Just doesn't have to be a mile. It just has to be an inch that your foot moves forward. You know.
Yes.
Anyway, I'm sorry.
No, that's good. No, it is. I kind of miss that. I miss the. I hated it, but I miss the daily check-ins.
Right. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
did not like being at formation early in the morning, but I missed it because it was you were in it with other peers, you were in it with your
Right.
family, and so yeah, I kind of miss that. The community that you have found, the support, that that's huge. That is so important to have because we feel, especially now, we feel so alone. So how did you find that in, yeah, I mean, obviously it's helped
Okay.
you, but
Sure. And again, it's banging my head against the wall. So uh, for for a long time, I thought I was an introvert, and I just didn't want to reach out. And I don't
mhm,
know if I was really an introvert or if I was just unsocialized or what. But again, through social media on Weight Watchers, they've got a whole area that's sort of devoted specifically to members talking to members, and it's for me, it's all digital, but it's not always all I ate a piece of kale today versus a cheeseburger. It's kind of like the Wild West sometimes. But from within that, I found like a group of regulars who we share our journey, and we mean something to each other. That's really neat, and I'm grateful for that. And then from that also, there have been a couple people who I've uh, connected with offline there, to share and to keep going. Um, and then along the way, also some of my most important music teachers I've always kept up with. So it's serendipitous that I've found the communities that I have, and again, they're not exceedingly large, and but but they're the people who I remember from my experiences face to face, who are some of the best people out there that I like to keep in touch with.
mhm.
Uh, and uh, and again, without being totally the mutual admiration society, but you were always one of those kind voices in a very difficult time in my life. And I remember coming and sitting in your office, and just we would laugh and giggle a little bit because we were both in kind of good but positions that sucked, and, and so finding those people who offer the best in life, those good qualities in people, and just remembering them and checking in with them. I think that's sort of also how I form my communities. I mean, it's not always a regular every day. It's just reach out and touch occasionally and say thank you for the kindness from our time together.
I appreciate that. I remember those times. We did have those positions where it was you wanted to rip your hair out and we're like, why am I doing this? But then again,
Yeah,
it was I just loved it because I got to,
yeah,
meet people like you
yeah,
um and it's not I you just say that it's small communities. It's not always about large communities and having hundreds of friends. It's
yeah,
having that handful
yeah, yeah,
that I think is so important. And I've learned that I guess
yeah,
as I gotten older is that I don't need 100. I don't need to be popular. I don't need all
right,
that. I just need just my few that I can reach
right,
out to, even if
right,
we don't talk to
right,
every day or every month. We could reach out in a
right,
year or two. And
yeah,
I love that about our military family.
yeah,
I really do.
yeah,
So yes.
yeah,
Um,
yeah. Yeah, and I think the other thing through that, and it's with those few people that you have, that you really can be totally and fundamentally honest. And when you know you found those people, and, and you tell them your story, and they don't flinch, they just accept it and say, hey, no judgment. I know you for who you are today, and that person, whoever that person was beforehand, if you don't like that person, that's fine. But I like who you are today. I mean, those are those are the real big filters that help you find those communities too, or that let you find those couple people that really make your life valuable. And it's remarkable to think about, how many people uh, might be listening who either connect with this idea and say, yeah, this works for me, or don't, or whatever, but who at least are out there trying to find who that community is for them. And so, to you and to me and to all of us, I just wish us lots of luck, and and lots of support, especially right now.
yes. No, that is important. I know on this journey I've lost some people and it was hard, but I come to realize that if there's anybody in my life that I have to pretend to be somebody else around, then it's not worth it anymore.
Yeah,
I did that for
yeah,
too long.
yeah,
So when we do find that
but
person
yeah,
that you're honest with and
yeah,
they're still there, then yep, that's
yeah,
that's who stays.
yeah. One of my favorite researchers is from UMass Amherst, and her name is Pat Griffin. And I don't know if Pat is still, I mean, I don't know if she's still writing or much, but she had this idea that she published a couple papers on called identity management, and it was specifically in the LGBT community, but it just talked about the ways that we try to mask our true selves to other people.
Yeah.
Uh, either aggressively or passively. How we do that, and I think the thing that I learned from that, from me, at least along the LGBT axis, is that everyone knew anyway. So why did I waste so much time and take up so much brain space? You know, um, Trying to deflect or to cover when people knew, and when I wasn't worried about that, you know, and was just myself, life got so much better.
Yeah.
And the parallel to talking about eating disorders or weight or workaholism, it's the same thing. Why am I wasting this mental energy uh, on everything to deflect from who I am, when who I am really isn't that bad of a person after all, and I should just go with
Yes.
it.
Yes.
Why do we do this to
I don't
ourselves?
know, but it's so easy to do that to ourselves. And then one day it's like, wait a minute, no, I'm not. This is me.
Right. Yeah, it's not one day, it's years later. Yeah,
That's
and it's
yes.
like, why? So
Yeah, I don't
yeah,
know.
yeah,
But
yeah,
now here we are and this is our message and now we're going to help other
yeah,
people through it. And I think
yeah,
that's what I had to realize through all those years of why me and this sucks to here
yeah,
today going, okay, think I know why. I'm listening. I got it.
Well, I'm glad that you turned that corner and not just said, I'm helping myself. I'm glad that you turned this corner and said, this is this is so much bigger than any one of us, and to get out there and broadcast that message to this whole community of people that you've created is just incredible, and it's just remarkable to think about one, so many people who want and need help, and what we can offer to each other. It's I mean that sort of we're all in this together, and that really drives it home. So thank you for your work of making this medium happen, so people can tune in and say, hey, there are so many ways, and maybe today's the day I find that way for me. So amazing.
I I thank you. I appreciate your support. It took me many years, of course, but I think the support that have received has saved my life, really, because I knew it wasn't just me. There's so many of us out there that need to help each other, and
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
it's so important.
Yeah,
Oh
we're
my
not just
gosh.
saving our lives. We're not just saving our lives. We're saving, our families and just so many others. Yeah, so such a great insight. Thank you.
Yes, thank you so much. I'm I'm really proud of you, Russell. This is a huge story to tell, and I just yeah, I'm just so honored that you're here to share this and wanting to help other people, and that you're actually helping yourself in the process too. It's this whole self-healing journey, and it's remarkable, and I really do. I'm so proud of you, and thank you so much for being on here.
Well, thank you again for the opportunity. It's a pleasure to reconnect with you in this format, and laugh and giggle and share a little bit, and just become better, healthier human beings through this interaction. And again, kudos to you for the great work of making this opportunity a regular thing for lots of people, and for the chance just to be a part of that. I'm grateful.
Thank you
Thank you.
so much. Congratulations on your doctorate again. Tell me when you're going to when you retire, because I just 33 years, right? Is that what you said?
I
That's
did, yeah.
amazing.
It depends on what the promotion gods say when they meet again, whenever they meet
Yeah,
again. So if I make the next rank, great. If I don't, great. Um, it
right.
is what it
No,
is.
yeah, that's true. It's whatever's in our journey for us. But yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah.
Thank you again. I can't wait to see where you're going to be at in the next few years. And as always, keep in touch. If you haven't heard about Anchor, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. Let me explain. It's free. There's a creation tool that allows you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or your computer. Anchor will distribute your podcast for you so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many more. You can also make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. Download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. Thank you for listening to the Truths We Hide podcast, created by A Wild Ride Called Life. To find out more about our mission, visit www.awildridecalledlife.com.